All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the VSP Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Bernice, owner of Victory Sports Performance. Excited to talk about this one. We're going to be going over warm-ups. Not overly exciting, but super important. A lot of athletes hate doing them, and we're going to go over why they hate them and how to make them not hate them. So let's jump in. 3 reasons why athletes need to warm up. Right, and we can name, as many as we really want to, but the reason why I think they need to warm up is, number one, injury prevention, right? So, injury prevention is something that gets spoken about a lot. It's kind of a buzzword in the strength and conditioning industry. But we want to make sure that the body is prepared for the loads that it's about to encounter, right? Let's say strength-wise, if we're going to be squatting or doing some heavy lunges or things of that nature, and we are not warmed up appropriately, we can potentially hurt ourselves. So we want to make sure that we're warmed up or ready for whatever we're about to do. Number 2 is nervous system activation, right? So we want to be primed, ready to go. It's no secret, right? Your first vertical jump, right, is not going to be better than your 4th or 5th vertical jump, right? You're slowly warming yourself up, getting the body acclimated to whatever you're doing. And then 3 is going to be movement quality, right? So if you're somebody, that is stiff or lacks stability, right? There's going to be exercises that you should be doing prior to moving, whether it's lifting, jumping, or sprinting, to help prepare you for those movements, right? So if I have stiff hips, I'm going to be doing hip exercises to prepare myself to squat, lunge, sprint, or whatever the case may be. So those are 3 reasons why you got to be warming up, right? So now that hopefully I have you bought in on warming up, let's go over how we kind of structure a warm-up. It's, I've picked from multiple different coaches, from my time of research and, shadowing or getting mentored. And it's nothing crazy or nuanced, but all of our warm-ups start with some breathing typically, right? Could be as simple as some, lay in the dead bug position or prop your feet up on the wall or a bench, and you're going to be taking some deep breaths in. Right, we are trying to expand the rib cage, set the pelvis, underneath the rib cage, and get you a bit more aligned. Right, and also just, all right, maybe you need to calm down. Came from a long day of school. Just get you focused and structured and ready to go for your warm up. Then we'd go into what we call our soft tissue work, which could be, some foam rolling. We use a lacrosse ball, AccuMobility ball, right? We're going to attack some areas that are maybe a bit gritty, right, that need some attention, some relaxation. Then we'll follow that up with mobility work, right, because typically we want to breathe, right, calm the nervous system. Then we're going to do some soft tissue work, right, again, to calm those specific areas. And then as those areas are a bit more opened up, we want to load them with stretching, right, whether that's, some 90-90s, some adductor work, thoracic rotation, whatever the case may be, wherever you need to focus your mobility work on. And then lastly, we warm up, right? We'll do some movements, right? Whether it's dynamic. Typically, we try to mimic what we're going to be doing for the day. Right? If we're going to be doing more acceleration work, right, our warm-up should look more like acceleration or top end speed or change of direction, right? We're going to mimic those positions. Our warm-up is going to consist of breathing, soft tissue work, mobility, and movement. Pretty simple, 4 parts. It can be done very, very quickly. So now that you have a little bit of an idea of our template, we're going to go over 3 ways to get athletes to actually do their warm-up. Number 1, make it quick and efficient, right? We do not need to be warming up for 30, 45 minutes. It's not fun for anybody. I know some people enjoy, spending some time warming up, but the average athlete wants to, just get through the warm-up quickly and get right into their lifts. Or they don't want to do their warm-up at all, which, typically then I'm yelling at them or trying to hold them accountable and explain why they should be doing their warm-up, but they don't want to spend that much time. I try to keep my warm-ups under 10 minutes, right? You may not agree with me, but these are the kids I deal with. I know I want to keep it under 10 minutes because they want to get right into their lift. So make it efficient, right? The exercises or drills that you choose in your warm-up should be good bang for your buck, right? I could, maybe it's a flow, maybe it's a combo of stretches, whatever the case may be, try to keep it quick and efficient. So that's number 1. Number 2, flow from the floor to standing. For me, I don't like getting up and getting down and so on and so forth, like throughout the warm-up. I like to start on the floor, then I slowly build up to kneeling positions, and then I go up into standing. I stole that from Eric Cressy, and it just makes the warm-up flow nicely, right? And then lastly is make them feel the difference, right? So if they feel the warm-up actually helps their workout, they'll be more willing to do it, right? So when they're going through any sort of their mobility exercises, make sure that they understand, all right, this is why we're doing it, and then show them how it is going to improve whatever the position they need to get into. Because 9 out of 10 times, especially these 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and definitely our college athletes, they have some tight areas. They have some areas of need. They're lacking stability or something in some part of their body, and they need to make sure they address it in their warm-up. Because the warm-up, the great thing about it is they can do it almost every single time that they're here. So they're exposed to that. And we expect our athletes to do their warm-up outside of here. So make sure that you take the time to explain it to them. Get the buy-in that you need, right? And meet the athlete where they're at. And, you may need to be creative, right? So there's certain athletes will play games, right? Especially the younger kids. Maybe it's a reactionary or maybe it's a hand-eye coordination. Getting them to buy into it by meeting them where they're at, right? Trying to figure out what's going to be the best course of action for that athlete. Because if you try to shove, a 30-minute warm-up down their throat, 9 out of 10 times they're going to hate it. Then their workout's going to take 2-3 hours, and nobody's happy at that point. So make sure to try to explain it. The best sessions that I've ever coached and brought athletes through all start with a quality warm-up. Very rarely kids are ready to go right when they come in here. Some kids will come from the field and then maybe we'll adjust their warm-up, but usually, right, they're coming in cold. They're tired, especially now. It's the summertime. They're coming in, their eyes are half closed. Maybe they woke up an hour ago. So we need to make sure that we get them ready. So if you're an athlete or if you're an adult or anybody, make sure you warm up, right? And figure out what's going to be the best thing for you, or if you're a coach, right, how you're going to address this with your athletes. My 4-step approach to warm up is just my way of doing it. You may have your own way, as long as it, hits, the nails that you need to hit. God bless. But thanks for listening, as always. I'd appreciate, a like, a comment, a subscribe, whatever the case may be. We appreciate your support, and I'll be talking to you next week. Thanks, guys.